All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into some seriously cool English vocab.
Yeah, we're talking about words and phrases you won't find in your average textbook.
Right, this is all about real conversations, the kind that make you feel like a native speaker.
Exactly. The kind of stuff that helps you really connect with people.
And where better to start than with the word weird?
Weird.
I mean, seriously, how many times a day do you hear that word?
Oh, it's everywhere, especially with younger people in America, at least.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate way to describe anything that's a little bit out there.
Right. But here's a fun fact. In British English, you're more likely to hear odd.
Odd.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it can make a difference.
Okay, so let's say you're talking about your neighbor who collects garden gnomes and sings opera in the shower.
Okay.
In American English, you'd probably say, he's kind of weird.
Right?
But in British English, it might be, he's a bit odd.
Exactly. See the difference?
Yeah, it's like odd. Sounds a bit more judgmental.
Yeah, maybe a little.
All right, so we've tackled weird. Now let's move on to something a little more heartwarming.
Okay.
Housewarming gifts. I've always found that tradition so fascinating.
Oh, it's a big deal here in North America.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, it's not just about the gift itself, you see. It's about welcoming someone into a new space.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's like saying, we're happy you're here and we want you to feel at home.
So what kind of gifts are we talking about?
Usually something practical, like photo frames or plants, or maybe something homemade like pastries.
I get it. Something to make the new place feel cozy.
Exactly.
Now imagine you're at a housewarming party and you meet someone who gives you the creeps.
Ooh, okay, I'm listening.
Like they keep staring at you, or their laugh just sounds a little too forced.
Yeah, that bad feeling, we all know it.
It's like your gut is screaming, get out of there.
Haha, right. But it's not always easy to explain why you feel that way.
But in English, we have the perfect phrase, creeped me out.
Oh, yeah, that one's a classic.
That guy's totally creeping me out.
Perfect example. It's stronger than just saying someone is weird.
Yeah, it's like a warning sign.
Exactly. Like you said, your intuition is telling you something's off.
And speaking of uncomfortable situations, have you ever been in a class where the instructor just makes you feel uneasy?
Ooh, yeah, I've been there.
Maybe they make inappropriate jokes or their teaching style is just a bit too intense.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it gets so bad you just have to leave.
Right. You just gotta get out of there.
It's being kicked out.
Well, not always kicked out implies you were forced to leave.
True. But sometimes you kick yourself out to escape a creepy situation.
Haha, that's a good point.
Like your gut instinct is saying, run,
Run.
run. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something we all love.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Gossip.
Ah,
It's
gossip.
a universal language, right?
It really is. Everyone loves a little juicy tidbit of information.
And knowing how to gossip in English can really help you connect with people.
Absolutely. It's a great way to learn about social dynamics and pick up on slang.
But it's important to be mindful of others' feelings, too.
Of course, you don't want to hurt anyone.
All right, so let's say you're bursting with gossip. How do you casually bring it up in a conversation?
Well, you could start with, I don't know if you've heard.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's like you're letting them in on a secret.
Exactly. And if you want to add a little drama try,
Yep.
you'll never guess.
Ooh, that's even better. It creates so much anticipation.
Right.
And if you're on the receiving end of the gossip and you want to encourage your friend to spill the tea, you could say, you have to fill me in.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Okay, all this talk about secrets and gossip is making me think of a story.
The story.
Yeah, a creepy one that I heard a while back.
Ooh, I love a good creepy story. Lay it on me.
So picture this. A small town, a scrapyard on the edge of town, and a man with a secret.
Okay, this is already giving me chills. I'm hooked.
Now, this scrapyard was the kind of place that just felt eerie,
Yeah, like piles of rusty metal and strange noises at night.
Exactly. And the man who owned it, well, let's just say he had a bit of a reputation.
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of reputation?
People whispered that he was a bit off, a little too intense.
I see where this is going.
Well, one day, his wife vanished without a trace.
Oh, no.
Gone just like that.
So what happened?
At first, everyone assumed she had run off with someone else.
Makes sense.
But as time went on, and there was still no sign of her peer, people started to get suspicious.
I bet they did, especially in a small town.
And of course, all eyes turned to the husband.
The husband.
Years passed, and the case went cold.
Oh, wow. A real mystery.
But then one day, the police showed up at the scrapyard with shovels and a warrant.
They were going to dig.
dig they did.
What were they looking for?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody knew for sure.
Really?
Some said they were looking for a buried body. Others whispered about hidden treasure.
A buried body or treasure. This is getting good.
But I moved away from that town shortly after the digging started, so I never found out what they uncovered.
Oh, you're kidding me. That's a total cliffhanger.
I know, right? It's one of those mysteries that's always stuck with me.
I bet.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened?
Honestly, I go back and forth between a tragic accident and something more sinister.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But that's what makes a good mystery, right?
Absolutely. It keeps you guessing.
Plus, it's a great way to learn some creepy English vocabulary.
Uh-huh. Very true.
So there you have it, from everyday slang to chilling mysteries. We've explored a whole range of fascinating English words and phrases.
We've covered weird, creeped out, kicked out, even housewarming gifts and gossip.
And we've learned that language can be a powerful tool for expressing a whole spectrum of emotions.
It's amazing how words can transport us to different worlds and make us feel so many different things.
But that's just the beginning. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the captivating world of English vocabulary.
You won't want to miss it. Welcome back. It's crazy how just one word can make you picture something so clearly and feel so many things.
You're so right. Like, take the word vampire, for instance.
Vampire.
Boom. You
Yeah.
instantly see pale skin fangs and, a hatred of sunlight. It's a word loaded with history and mystery and fear.
And what I find so fascinating is how vampires have changed over time.
Totally. Like, how we view them kind of shows what we're scared of at that moment.
Yeah. So like the pale skin thing probably came from the idea that they're undead.
Right. Like, they don't have that blood flowing that gives us our healthy color.
So it's like their paleness shows they've lost their life force.
Exactly. And that leads us to the whole blood-sucking thing.
Oh man, that is a seriously creepy image.
Blood has always been a powerful symbol across cultures.
Yeah, it represents life, vitality, and power.
Right, so the idea of a creature that survives by drinking someone else's blood, it's like a primal fear.
Like they're stealing our very essence, our life force.
Exactly. And then there's the whole garlic thing.
Ah, garlic. Is there any truth to that, or is it just another myth?
Well, garlic has been thought to have healing properties for ages, so it was often used to ward off diseases.
That people used to think were caused by evil spirits.
Exactly. And since vampires were also seen as evil, it kind of makes sense.
So it's like garlic is a symbol of protection from the unknown.
Yeah, like a shield against darkness.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Remember those phrases we talked about?
The gossip phrases.
Yeah, the ones that make it impossible to resist juicy information.
Oh, yeah. Those little clues that tell you you're about to hear something good.
Like, have you heard?
So simple, but so effective.
Right. It's like you're inviting someone to be in the know.
Totally. Like saying, come closer, I've got a secret.
And then there's the classic, guess what?
Guess what? That one always gets me.
It's the ultimate attention grabber.
Totally. Like a drum roll before the big reveal.
Okay, and speaking of things that grab our attention and sometimes freak us out a little, clowns.
Ooh, clown.
Some people love them, some people hate them.
It's funny how something meant to be fun and playful can also be kind of scary.
Totally. It's like our brains are saying, warning, something's not right here.
And that feeling, that unease, is what we call creepy.
Creepy is such a good word.
It can describe so many things.
Like a creepy person, a creepy house, a creepy sound.
It's that primal feeling of fear, like something's wrong.
Like that bad feeling we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's your gut telling you to be careful.
And sometimes those creepy feelings are totally justified.
Like with our scrapyard mystery.
But sometimes it's just our imagination running wild.
True, our minds can play tricks on us.
And that brings us back to the power of language.
It shapes how we see the world, how we feel, how we understand things.
It can even make us feel scared or creeped out.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. And it shows how learning English is about way more than just grammar rules.
It's about understanding the culture, the stories, the fears.
It's about diving into those darker corners of the language.
The parts that make us uncomfortable, but also teach us a lot.
So the next time you hear a word that gives you the creeps, don't ignore it.
Embrace it. Figure out why it makes you feel that way.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
And you might even start to appreciate the power of language even more.
All right, before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What are some words or phrases that you find super creepy?
Share your thoughts and keep the conversation going.
Well, we've explored some pretty interesting territory, haven't we?
We have. From the strange and unusual to the downright creepy.
And we've seen how these words and phrases can really make our English conversations come alive.
It's like you've discovered a hidden treasure chest of vocabulary.
Exactly. You're not just speaking the language.
Yeah.
You're feeling it.
You're connecting with it on a deeper level.
All right, so let's take a minute to recap what we've learned in this deep dive.
Okay.
We started with that all-purpose word for the out-of-the-ordinary, weird.
Right. And we saw how weird can have slightly different vibes depending on where you are.
Like in America, it's super common, but in Britain, you might hear odd instead.
Yeah, and odd can sound a bit more judgmental.
Then we talked about housewarming gifts and how they're not just about the gift itself.
It's a way of welcoming someone into a new community, a new home.
And it's a beautiful tradition that shows how much we value those connections.
Absolutely.
But of course, not all new experiences are positive. We also talked about those times when you get a bad feeling about someone or something.
Right, that gut instinct that something's not right.
And we learned that even in English, there are specific ways to describe those feelings.
Like creeped out or kicked out.
Those phrases really capture the unease and discomfort of those situations.
And they remind us that it's okay to trust our intuition.
Exactly. And speaking of intuition, we can't forget about our foray into the world of gossip.
Ah, gossip. The language of secrets and whispers.
We learned how to subtly introduce a juicy piece of information with phrases like, I don't know if you've heard, or you'll never guess.
It's like a little game we play with language, creating anticipation and excitement.
And it's a reminder that language can be fun and playful too.
It certainly can.
And of course, no deep dive would be complete without a chilling mystery.
Ah, yes, the tale of the missing wife. The creepy scrapyard and the unresolved ending.
It's a story that stays with you long after you've heard it.
It makes you think about the darker side of human nature and the secrets that people keep.
And it shows how language can be used to evoke a sense of mystery and suspense.
Absolutely.
So what have we learned from all of this?
Well, I think we've seen how English vocabulary goes way beyond the textbook.
It's a rich tapestry of words and phrases that reflect our culture, our emotions, and our experiences.
And by learning these words and phrases, you're not just improving your language skills.
You're gaining a deeper understanding of the world around you.
Exactly.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep having fun with the English language.
That's the key.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you next time.